the vault, high atop the pastoral center of the Diocese of Camden, you're listening to Talking Catholic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talking Catholic. This is Marianela Nunez, and with me is my colleague and friend, Mike Bress. How are you?
Good, Marianela. It's been a little while since it's been the two of us as our in the co-hosting duo seats here. So
I know
good to be back with you.
Missing my podcasting experience here, being out.
I know that this summer has been an interesting time schedule-wise for the both of us. So we've had to bring in some lovely folks, including Jen Morrow, which is great to sit with her and have a schools podcast and some other topics. But really happy to be back with you. Although we should say to our listeners, we're doing this one on a Zoom. And although you and I are in a school together, currently, we are in different parts of the school. So just for the audio files out there to know that we are doing this properly by not sitting in the same room and causing an echo effect.
Right. How is the summer going for you, Mike?
I have to say, I think for one word to define it, has been busy. I was able to, and I mentioned this on the last podcast I was on, was able to go to a great conference that you have been at, Partners in Mission, down in the Boston area. And it's just been great. Now I've been trying to digest all of the information I've gotten there.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot. And visiting our schools for some summer meetings to talk about them, goals for the 23-24 school year and put my own marketing plans together. And as you always like to see my checklist in the office, it continues to grow, but enjoying my time. How about you?
It's, I'm very excited to be going on a conference next week as well. We'll be joining Facts Elevate this year in Orlando. So it's kind of like a learning opportunity for me to bring back to the schools all they have to offer in terms of the technology integration into our schools. And we've used Facts for many years now in different capacities. And so this would be my first time going into a Facts conference. So I'm very, very excited about that.
I'm very interested to see how much work you actually get done, being that you're in Orlando, which is adjacent to the happiest place on earth. So I feel like you say you're going to sessions, but if I see the Magic Kingdom ride, I wouldn't be very surprised.
Guess where the conference is? It's at one of the Disney resorts.
Yeah. So I don't know how you're going to get anything done. At least mine was like in a hotel. I was in a hotel in Boston, outside of Boston. There's not really a lot of places you could go without specific transportation. You're on the resort. There's buses that take you to the parks.
There's a boat.
Couple of minutes. A boat, even better. So you better just mail home all of the presentation slides and go on some rides and stuff.
Right. Well, good stuff and good summer. It's kind of like, I say to people, I haven't been able to really go away and even seeing the beach this summer. It's been busy, but it's kind of like just good to feel the air, to feel the heat. And after all these cold months. And so, we enjoy that with the family and it's a good thing. It's a blessing. But you may have heard the laughs around this show today. And we want to introduce you to our guests. For the first time, they're joining us in Talking Catholic. And we have two amazing principals that are going to be talking to us about what's going on in our schools during the summer. Are they closed? Do they just go away and relax during the summer months? So what's going on really during these months in our Catholic schools? And so we want to welcome Principal Patricia Mancuso from St. Mary's School in Williamstown. Welcome, Trish. How are you?
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I don't know how it happened that this is the first time you're on, but we are thrilled to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And we also have with us Principal Liz Martino, who is the principal at Our Lady of Hope School in Blackwood, New Jersey. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's also Liz's first time. So it's kind of like two first-time principals coming into our show. We're thrilled to have both of you here with us and have this conversation. I'm sure our listeners are going to enjoy all your knowledge, expertise, and experience as they, want to know more about our Catholic schools in South Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
So we have to, we'll top it off. We'll make it a sign of a softball question, but we're going to break the misnomer here. The schools are open. There are people currently working in both of your buildings at this moment, correct?
Absolutely. We are here and we are here every day.
So kids, if you're listening with your parents on this episode, your principals are working. They do work during the summertime. The teachers might be off. Some of the other staff members might be off, but your principals are hard at work keeping the school running here. So we're glad to see that.
Yes, like part of our a conversation today is going to go about like what happens in our Catholic schools during the summertime. What are you guys working on these days, and what are the preparations that you're undertaking as the summer months are passing by? And any of you can pick on this one.
Well, there's plenty to work on. I think I know Trish and I are probably the same in terms of, over the summer, we have lots of families that are coming to visit us, for tours to see our schools. Definitely here, our school doesn't look like it does through the year. Like we have Mr. Pete working on the floors to get them scrubbed and clean. So a lot of the desks are, in the hallways or shoved together in the middle of classrooms. So it's a little funny bringing people around during the summer because obviously the kids aren't here and, the rooms don't look like they do during the year, but we do a lot of tours during the summer. And we have a couple of our teachers that are transitioning from our school. So today I had a couple of different people in for interviews, looking for, our next teachers. And, I love the summer because I feel like I'm actually able to think and work on different projects. The days are just so busy during the school year. So I love just having time. But actually a lot of our teachers come in and out through the summer. And, right now we have a couple teachers that are here, working in their classrooms. So there's plenty to do over the summer.
Right. What about you, Trish?
Absolutely. We have some painting going on right now. Our big clean is coming up. We just got through with our carnival, the parish carnival and Bible school. So we have a lot of things that are going to be happening right now. But just like Liz, there's always people who are in and out. We had an open house during the summer as well last week, which was very successful. We are constantly meeting with new families, talking to people on the phone. And then, of course, there's a lot of things that, I need to do just to end one year and prepare for the next year. So it's constantly busy. The phones are ringing. The doorbell is ringing. We are definitely here.
And I was going to bring this up more towards the end in some of the questions that I wrote down. This was towards the bottom of my list, but we brought this up first, which is, talk about a little bit about any advice you have for these people that are still looking potentially for a school for the fall, right? I mean, we're in mid-July right now. And for us, that seems like it's right around the corner, which it is. But as you just mentioned, you're having open houses, you're having tours. So talk to us a little bit about that. I mean, why is this a good time to come in and visit your schools and potentially become a part of your school community?
Well, I mean, although the building doesn't look like it usually would, like Liz said, the building does not look like it usually would. It doesn't have that same feel or the same vibe, right? Because things are so different. People are still calling us. And some people are transitioning. Some people have found that they're moving. Some people have just decided that this is the time when I want my child to go to preschool. And they give us a call. I mean, and as long as we have the space, we'd love to have them come over, check us out, walk around. The advancement director talks with them. I talk with them. And, as long as we're able to accommodate them or service their child, then certainly all are welcome. That's what we're here for.
Definitely. I think I'd agree with you, Trish, that a lot of it just has to do with if we have the space. But if we have an opening, I know for us and for many of the schools, we can process families pretty quickly because we are here over the summer. So we're able to bring the families in and show them the schools, speak with them about what they're interested in for their children. And, it's a fine time. As long as they're here before school starts, they'd be, able to join the cruise. So I think, the important thing is, I think for many families, I know for me, I need like a little bit of time once the school year ends just to feel like, whew, you can breathe out and you're, and so I feel like now people are starting to think, oh, what are we doing in September? And
that's right.
I do think, like, I know we had a family touring today, and I feel like, it's, they're thinking, okay, we might not want to go back where we were last year. And so that happens, and so I feel like families, that are kind of even considering making a change, it's a great time for them to come in. For me, I love it because I feel like I'm actually able to stop and talk to people for a little bit about what they're looking for.
Right. And I would say, like, if a family is looking for, a school this summer, and they're trying to figure out how the enrollment process goes, can you both describe, like, what would it take for a family to enroll now, go from point A to point B?
Sure. And once a family contacts us, we set up a time for them to be able to come in, to be able to see the school, walk through the school. Generally, as long as I'm available, I'll meet with them, with the advancement director, find out their reason for transfer, talk to them a little bit more about our school, look at report cards and so on. Their next step, after they determine that this is where they would like their child to be, would be to complete the registration paperwork, bring in all the documents that are needed, and then, of course, go through fax and make sure that their family is logged on in fax. And once we have all of that done, then we have a student who we consider is registered.
Some people may not know what fax is. So can you describe?
Sure. So fax is like the third party that we use. That is the tuition company. And that is also where you can apply for tuition assistance. So that's the company that is debiting your account for the tuition. And then if your family is in need of any tuition assistance, then they could go through fax also and apply for that as well.
I think if we mention their name one more time, someone appears from the fax office.
That's right. Or let's us go to Orlando with Marianela.
Yeah. Do we get to go we get to go on a free trip to Orlando now, right?
That's right.
They are a
Trish
wonderful organization.
That would be fine, Marianela. Yes. No problem. But we'll see you after the conference in the park.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. We're not going to any of the sessions. We are in the park the entire time. That's a great thing, and I think it's something that's typically lost on us in the office sometimes, or in the people that have a certain timeline, right? That we think come winter time into the spring, that's when people are thinking about it. But as you both mentioned, sometimes it's the summer. Sometimes they think, oh, this school year didn't go as well as we had hoped, and now we have to think about it. So it's great that you're open to that process and that you're making it easier. And I do think that you brought up a great point, Liz, which is you guys have the opportunity to speak with them, which during the school year might have been a little bit more difficult. So that creates even a better experience for them because they have a moment to talk to you and really get a chance to learn about the school, which I think is fantastic.
Right. And I would ask Liz, Trish just described the process, and I think it's pretty standard amongst our Catholic schools. Is there anything different that you do at Our Lady of Hope, but it's kind of like the same process?
No, it's a very similar process. I think the one thing that I'll mention that I think has been different lately this summer, that we're meeting with a few families that hesitated to apply or come visit us because their child is not yet baptized. Oh. And so that's been another thing that, we've been experiencing. And I don't know, Trish, if you've had the same experience, but I do think, a challenge in the church now is like young families that are practicing their faith. And so we're finding that as young families have children that they're enrolling in school, they're having a desire to really start practicing their faith. And so we have a couple of our families that said, I didn't know if we would be eligible to, apply to a Catholic school because we haven't really been active at a parish. And so it's I think, a wonderful thing, because we have several young families that are looking to join, a parish. And part of our application process, we ask for a baptismal certificate. So I think that's something that's, been my experience.
And just, to clarify to our listeners and, anybody who's interested in Catholic education, we do provide services to, people from other religions, like just, under the understanding that we are a Catholic school and that we promote and live our faith. But the baptism certificates are required for Catholic families. But if you are a family that are also not Catholic, we welcome you into our schools, and then kind of like we have that conversation about what the expectations are regarding the Catholic faith in our school and how we live it, and what your child may benefit from that environment, but also what would be the things that you're looking to kind of like negotiate with the principal. Anything on that, Trish, regarding the families you serve that may not be Catholic?
We have had several families over the years where maybe that was the situation, and we actually were able to work with the family, work with the child, and have that child go through the sacraments. And several times we've even had those experiences at some of our school masses, where some of our actual students were baptized or made their first Holy Communion at a school mass. So, it's a beautiful thing. So all are welcome. And we're always willing to work with the family and the child in order to get them where they want, if that's what they're looking for. And, what a beautiful experience for that family, but also for the whole school to be able to witness.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go from the sort of theoretical over talking about bringing in people to the physical. You've mentioned that there's some projects. I'm sitting in a room right now with a lot of chairs and a lot of stacks of things and feeling slightly claustrophobic. But what are the big projects that you're tackling for this school year? Is there a new part of the building, cleanup, paint? We talk about that stuff, but is there something you're excited about? And as a two-parter to that, with cleanup comes finding fun things that you've lost throughout the year and discover they're in a corner. So the second part of that question is, have you found anything in the cleanup that was lost or is sort of a treasure?
That's so funny. We have this closet. It's kind of like a mystery closet. And I can't say that I've really gone in there because it's kind of like tucked away. So right after the school year ended, I'm like, let's check this out. Well, there were some old things in there for sure. So I'm sure I'm not going to use those old things, but I found a little space.
Oh, there you go.
So that was pretty exciting.
Space is always a good thing to find.
Absolutely.
It's a treasure.
That's right.
It's going to be good in the end. Definitely.
I love it.
How about you, Liz? Anything unique that you found?
Well, we also cleared out some of our old Iowa testing. So we feel like we've got a whole new office now. So the office staff is thrilled to have files available to them. But we have been cleaning out our back closet, and we've got a lot of costumes in there we put from the middle school play. So we're finding that now we need we need a new costume closet, we think, if we're going to keep growing the play. Because I went in there the other day to look for copy paper and found instead a wedding dress from our middle school play. I'm like, you really have everything back here. So
that's funny.
I'm looking for a really great treasure. I'm already married, so I don't need a wedding dress. But it is fun as you clean out space over the summer and just kind of find.
That's great. As we're talking about cleaning, our listeners should know too that not only do we clean our buildings during the summer, but there's a lot of paperwork cleanup that happens throughout the summer. We're trying to finalize re-registrations of current families that haven't done that yet at this time, or at the same time we're recruiting new families and doing tours. One of the things that I think gets principals excited, it's like the planning for like what's going to go on in terms of curriculum and those innovations that happen every year. So is there anything that's coming up to your school this year that you're excited about in terms of academics?
I love it. I think that's like the best part of the summer for me, is like having time to like think and get to like be creative. And we have like here a science lab. And so one of our projects is just to make the science lab like more ready for the teachers and students. So like just trying to fill with supplies. So the teachers have been sending, list of supplies that they want to have in the science lab. And I'm excited about like creating more of like a maker space so that the kids can kind of like tinker and build. And so I've just been collecting, donations of like Legos and things like that for our science lab and area. So I'm excited about that. And
can you describe the makerspace for those who don't know?
Sure. So just having like loose materials that kids can build and create with. So I recently am part of a project through the University of Notre Dame where we get to go and see like excellent Catholic schools across the country and different schools that are innovating. And one of the schools that I saw that I really loved has a time, and it's pre-K to 8 like we are, but they have a time during the week where every grade comes and it's a room full of Legos. And the kids just build with Legos. And I was so impressed with like the scientific like questioning that was able to happen just with such simple materials. And so I talked to our teachers about, just building a space where the kids can put together materials and, use some scientific thinking to really like create and ask questions and wonder about things. And so in terms of the maker space that we're building, we want to definitely have like Legos, but also other materials like robotic materials that the kids can tinker with, and, even simple things like strings and toilet paper rolls and marbles, so that kids can try, concepts of physics and movement. And so we're excited about, just building a space that will be, usable for our younger students as well as like our older middle school students. And so the hope is that the lab will have both, microscopes and some of the scientific resources, but we want to put other things that we know we can easily use and collect, because I think we were kind of a little on hold because microscopes are so expensive. And so we want to really get at those skills, but using what we believe the community can kind of help us pitch in and provide.
You had me at room full of Legos. I think that's going to be my next suggestion for the diocesan office.
Right.
Just to have a room. I think Dr. Watson would be fine with me just kind of hanging out in a room full of Legos all day, not getting any of my other work done, just because I'm in a maker space at that point.
That's right.
I'm innovating in a different way.
And you're learning and you're creating. I think it's just fine.
I'm building my
like
own
the Google
city.
style.
Nap pod and some a Lego room.
That's right. Building schools out of Legos.
Yeah.
The future of Catholic schools, the city of Catholic schools. That's
the name of the game now. No, I think that's a wonderful thing for the kids to look forward to, but also at sort of bringing it to the time now. And I've seen this on some of our social media channels and in some of our conversations that there's also camps going on during this summer, to keep the kids sort of enriched. So do either of you have a camp that you've done or are planning to do, or have seen the benefits of the kids kind of coming into school for a week and, engaging with other students, things of that nature?
Ours wasn't a school event. It was a parish event, but they had Vacation Bible School last week.
Okay.
And that seemed to be very, very well attended. The the whole concept was space, and everything. The rooms were decorated, the stage was decorated, the gym was decorated, and the kids had a super great time. I could tell.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Anything in just kind of like piggyback on like Liz answered, anything going on at St. Mary's next year that's kind of like new or coming in as, having you excited about this time of the year, Trish?
Well, we're always trying to upgrade. We're always trying to like refocus, and a couple of things. Our library has been overhauled, so we're blessed with that. It kind of got a little old and dreary, so it was time to go through the books, get rid of some things. We had some beautiful donations of new books, so I had a great soul who was in there really working on that. So that'll be really great for the kids, because that's been something we've been wanting to do for a while, but haven't really, kind of pushed to the side, haven't really gotten to that. We're going to have a nice, strong focus on mental health, because we just find that we need to support our students in that way. So we're going to be, definitely working in that direction. And we hope to get some supplies and materials for our counselor, who's a full-time employee. So that's wonderful that we are able to have her here all the time, just to be able to help the kids with, any anxieties or stresses that might come their way. And then, we keep up with our textbooks. We keep up with our technology as well. So we're looking to, refresh some of that and keep that all moving right along. And, so we use our funds, and those are kind of the things that we're looking forward to coming up next year.
It's fantastic. Great way to really if you're a parent in a Catholic school, like the idea is that every year we try to do our best to innovate, to, maintain our buildings with what we have, and also, to find new ways in which we can be more creative with our curriculum. One of the advantages of being a Catholic school is that you have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to being more creative with the curriculum. We follow the standards, but at the same time, we educate the whole child, and we try our best to do that in the most creative and effective ways that we can. So it's kind of like very exciting to hear all of that movement going on as we talk to principals across South Jersey Catholic schools. These experiences and this, way to describe how things are going is very kind of like, it's almost like the same across the board. This is like what principals are doing these days. We don't close. We keep communicating from our central office as well to make sure that, things are moving along, and that, we're getting ready for September 6th, when we all get excited to welcome people back into our buildings. Right, Mike?
Yeah. I mean, it's scary that you're bringing that date up already. The hairs in the back of my neck just stood up a little bit to think September 6th is just around the corner. But yeah, I think so. And I think on that, we just spoke about sort of preparing curriculum, getting things ready for the kids, looking at the goals. I don't want to be the guy that assigns homework during the summertime, but you know what? Someone has to take it. So I'm going to ask the question, what is some of the things that you are hoping the kids are doing with their parents or otherwise during the summer to kind of prepare for the school year? I know my two kids had a reading assignment this summer, to read a book and get a project sort of ready for the first couple of weeks of school. So what's typical, or what have you advised parents to have, from the end of the year to the beginning of the next school year for the summer, and keep that sort of lack of everyday education from getting them when they come back?
Sure. Well, we have the assigned reading assignments, and we have math assignments too. And my advice is don't procrastinate, just get it done. Because when you wait till the very last minute, then it becomes much more of a hassle, right? On the parent end and on the child end. Just get it done. That's what we advise my daughter to do too. The other good thing that we have, I know all schools don't have it, but IXL does continue throughout the summer. So that's some more practice that the families can do.
Oh, it's funny you bring that up. It's kind of like I was thinking of that last night, as my daughter also is in one of our Catholic schools at St. Joseph's Cathedral in Camden, and she does have access to IXL, and I was like, oh, I haven't logged in a while, so like that should be, something that we can do throughout the summer. Because I've been thinking like, okay, now it's being enough of a break. Like we need to get back on track before September comes. So parents,
just a few minutes every day.
Yeah.
Can really help to strengthen the skills. And it's great that we have this program.
It's expensive
all
if
year
you're
long.
do it on your own. So we have this capability. It's part of our curriculum. So please take advantage because it costs money and, you're already paying for it in your tuition.
Yes.
Liz, how about for you? Do you guys have something similar?
We do. We have summer work like Trish, and we use Freckle. I know some of the schools use IXL and some use Freckle as like our adaptive program, but I completely agree with Mrs. Mancuso on the, just get it done, because I know here we had like a summer school program, like right after school got out, and many of the kids in the summer school program, including my daughter, were working on their summer packet. And as a parent, it's awesome to know her summer packet and summer reading is done.
Yes.
So now, like everything, for the rest of the summer, it's just like enjoyment. Like she actually went to the library and was like, I kind of want to read about this. And I'm like, great, go for it, But I do think it's important also for the students to do something that they love over the summer and to enjoy some of the summer. And I don't know about other families, but I can say for mine, I feel like the summer is a really important time just to have that quality time with your family. And for our students, I know, like you were mentioning at St. Mary's of a focus on mental health. I feel like kids, we're seeing from a very young age that anxiety. And I do feel like summer is a great opportunity where some of the stress of school can be lifted for students. So I really encourage our students to dive into something that they find really enjoyable, whether it's biking or, going fishing or doing what they can to relax. Because I think sometimes we underestimate that the kids really need that too. I know I got to the beach as soon as I could when summer break hit. But I do think, our parents are very sincere in wanting to support their students so that they start the year in a really good place. And I feel like one of the ways that, our families can really help is just by, doing that summer work and reading for enjoyment and keeping up on the skills, but also balancing that with some really nice family time, spending the time really listening to our kids, and I include myself as a parent. Because I do feel like that's really important. And during the school year, we all are so busy with activities and such that it can't always happen in the same way. And I feel like, I just treasure memories of my family from when I was a kid over the summer. And, I think it's really important to also give the kids that kind of time and, that they know, that they come back refreshed, ready to go and not totally exhausted. I hear some of the agendas of, tutoring all day and then doing this and that. And I don't know that that's, totally healthy for our students either. So I think there's a nice balance between summer fun and summer work.
Yeah. And I think you put it in such great terms that embracing some of the things that they already do love and how that equates to the work. I laugh because my youngest son is a avid reader, and he's very much taken that up from me. But he had an assigned reading assignment that he didn't want to do for a couple weeks after the month. And I said, you read every chance that you get. Read Mr. Popper's Penguins and be done with it, right?
That's right.
Do your project and sort of be done. And I had the same sort of mentality. Get it done and then you don't have to do it, right? And you can do the things to relax. You can do the things to enjoy. And so I think that's a great thing that you pointed out, Liz, to do that. While we're on that subject of taking a break and sort of giving yourself that refresh, have you two given yourselves the time to refresh and refocus? I think Trish,
Principals need it too.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, one of your fun facts from our principal highlights from the year was that you read a lot as well. There's something of 100 books, may or may not have been the number that
this is true. This is true. Yes.
So is
I
this
do.
I
read it all the time. I read all the time, which is wonderful. And, you know, it could be historical fiction. It could, whatever it is. I just love to have my Kindle in my hand. So, but I do that all year long. And
so that's not a summer focus.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my relaxation even during the school year. You know, that's how I do it. And like Liz said, you know, not only is it important for the kids to get some of their relaxing time, but it's also important for, you know, our faculty, our staff, and even ourselves. So I haven't really taken very much time off quite yet. And coming forward, we are going to go on vacation, and I do plan to take some days even around that, you know, while we're home. So that's the plan.
That's good. That's good to hear. Liz,
you got to do it. You got to do it.
It's hard, isn't it?
It is hard. It's hard. I know people come in and they're like, Mrs. Martino, when are you taking your vacation? But it is kind of like, it is relaxing being here when, you know, it's the summer months. So I feel like you are able to get a lot done here over the summer in a different kind of way. And so it's just wanting to make sure that everything is ready for the students when they come back and for the teachers. So but I was able to go to the beach. That's kind of my happy place. So
awesome.
It was really, really nice. I have 10 siblings, and we were all 11 of us together with my parents, which is like a treasure. So
I'm sure.
And you all survived? Everyone's accounted for?
Oh yeah, we survived, and everybody brought their kids, and so it was just a lot of fun. So
that's so great. And what happens when the principal goes away? What happens in the school?
Yeah,
things happen.
Who's in charge?
Because we have some wonderful people who, you know, my 2 secretaries are amazing, our advancement director, and then also my 8th grade teacher. She assists as assistant principal when she can, mostly giving me some of her time in the summer to help with things like textbook grants. When those books come in, she knows, you know, what to do with all that. She helps with some scheduling. You know, we go through our handbooks together, and then I revise them. So, you know, there's other people here who can keep the ball rolling.
Okay.
Liz, do you have just some support if you headed to the beach?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we definitely have people that, you know, are willing to help and will step in, you know, whenever we have to step away. So we're in good hands. And here I have a great associate principal now that will help. And we just, you know, try to rotate around. But we've got also, like Trish said, I think in many of our schools, we've got awesome administrative assistants that are here ready to help. And as many will say, they run the school. So, you know, they know what needs to happen if we step away.
And before we move on to another topic, but so we've got 11 brothers and sisters, full family here. What's the umbrella beach situation in that? Because my wife has a brother and 2 sisters. And when our family gets together, I call it Camp Bowers, because it's just this big group of umbrellas, but that's not even close to what must be happening when you're down at the beach. So what is this? Is this a compound? How much of the percentage of the beach are we taking up here?
Yes, we take up a good portion, but you know, it's a lot of fun and a lot of coordination, you know, but there's a lot of choose your own adventure that happens. You know, some people go on bike rides or into town, some people hit the beach, and you know, it's just always fun to all be together. And for me, I got to see a couple of my nieces that who are babies that I hadn't gotten to really hold and be with. So being with them in the sand was great. And I do love to read. I haven't mastered, like Trish, the reading through the year as much. So, just being able to, have other siblings there too, to say, I'm going to go and read this book for a little while my daughters go and spend time with their cousins. It's just a real gift.
Do we have a book recommendation for any of our listeners? What is a summer book you might be reading or have been reading? Trish, you can give 5 or 6 just of your top favorites.
Top list.
Able to run through, but what
it's all through Kindle Unlimited. That's it. I get more books out of Kindle Unlimited. It's the best $10 I spend every month.
That's awesome.
Is there a book we're reading now that we're enjoying, either of you, that you were excited to tackle, especially with a little bit of extra time?
I'm just kind of reading like some series. Sometimes once I find an author, I just keep going with that person. I'm not going to say that they're overly amazing, but like I said before, I do a lot of historical fiction, and I always enjoy a good Danielle Steele novel.
There you go.
He's good.
There you go.
I don't know. Did you read the book that I'm reading now is The Nightingale?
That book is absolutely awesome.
Isn't
it was supposed to be a movie, and I don't know whatever happened to that.
Okay. That's what I'm in the middle
amazing. Yes. She's amazing. She's the one who wrote Firefly Lane, that whole series that was on Netflix.
Yep.
There you go. So now I could talk about that forever, but
look at her.
That's right.
We have pivoted. We've got another podcast subject to go on.
That's right.
Trish back on for it. That's great. The book series. We did a wonderful. We'll have to get you in touch with our staff writer, Pete Sanchez, who did a subject for a little while, and I think he's continuing it. And I was profiled as one of his partners in this, where he's been interviewing people about their love of books. And I talked about a specific book from my years growing up. I was a cross country runner, and there's a sort of a famous book in the running community called Once a Runner that a lot of people read. And that was my favorite book as a high school kid, and my dad got it for me as a present, and it's signed by the author. And, I go back to 20 years later but it was this, but it's funny, going back to books and things, but my parents didn't know that I had done that interview. And so they're like, when were you in the Star Herald, talking about Once a Runner, and I was like, that was like a couple months ago. But so maybe Trish, we can get you
have another topic here.
Yeah.
That's right.
We can get you guys in touch.
If we keep it in like the Catholic school world, we would do like, how can you keep your kids, loving books and reading and how to engage them in that world so that they can become avid readers. I think it's such a great topic, and we have some great readers in the diocese that just love to read so much, and it's such an important thing for our kids to kind of like grow academically and in many other ways. So great stuff. As we kind of like transition into like something else here, I was thinking about as a principal, there's always like, a checklist of things that need to happen for parents to come back in like, September. And so I wanted to ask you really, what would you tell parents now is, July 19th, and how do they prepare for September 6th? What are the things that you would say, do it now, like do it in between, like August, tell them about it.
I would say go to Flynn O'Hara before.
Get your uniform. Came to mind.
That's where my husband and daughter went today.
I was there Saturday.
Get your uniform.
That's it. Do that. The other thing, of course, is, that work that needs to be done, encourage your child to get that completed so that it isn't a mad rush at the end, because we all know what that's like, right? Start getting those school supplies, because I'm sure that they're probably already out in the stores, and sometimes that's fun shopping. Like that could be a nice thing to do with the child. Pick out the backpack and the lunchbox, those kind of things. And, we always encourage our families to like read with their children, practice things with their children. You're going on a trip, do play some games as you're driving down the road. There's lots of things that they can do to keep their children engaged and keep that bond going as well.
That's great. Great. What about you, Liz? Anything else you want to add to that list?
Practice your math facts, because that certainly helps our math teachers when the kids know their facts. And that's something easy to practice over the summer, that you can just quiz your kids on their math facts, because the sharper they are and more ready with that, it certainly helps as the math learning goes on. I'm with Trish, get your uniforms now, because it always seems to creep up on us that August is here and we don't have the right shoes or the right shirts in, or whatever it might be. So that's definitely helpful.
And specifically at Flint and O'Hara, they have an army of people who are willing to help you with that. It is a operation of sorts. I know we have some really good uniform partners, not just Flint O'Hara, but that's where my kids' uniforms are from. And you go in there, they have your list, they help you stay organized, they help you get the sizes. It is an operation in there, but it can get busy. And so
very busy.
Pick that time, get that stuff.
So you don't want to have to wait in line.
Sizes being what they are, very common for all the kids.
This is the best time, kind of like when it comes August, and it's kind of like the middle of August, closer to that week where we are all coming back. That's when people are like crunching for like getting their stuff, and then they don't have the right size. Like, you don't want to be there. So this is the great time, listeners. Take advantage of this advice coming from two principals, two parents of the schools. This is it. You got your moment.
If you didn't take anything else out of this podcast, uniforms.
Get your uniform.
Read and get your uniform.
Read, math, and uniforms. We've got it. We've solved the entire summer. We are good to go.
That's good. Mike, I don't know, Liz and Trish, is their first time in our podcast, and we usually kind of like talk a little bit about the reason why you became a Catholic educator, and how you came about to be a principal. So can both of you, maybe starting with Liz, share your story about how did you come about to become a principal of a Catholic school? You probably didn't dream about that when you were growing up, so tell us your story.
Well, I think I might have dreamt about it as a kid growing up.
Wow.
My dad was a Catholic school principal. So actually, I was thinking about this the other day, talking to my daughter, because she said, Mom, I want to come into school with you. I like coming in. I like sitting in your office. And I thought, oh, gosh, maybe she'll be a Catholic school principal. Because when I was little, during the summers, I would always go into work with my dad. And I loved just helping the teachers and moving boxes and setting up, bulletin boards and things like that. But I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I also loved math. So when I graduated from college, I decided to do a volunteer teaching program. And I taught for a couple of years in Catholic schools. And I just totally fell in love with teaching, but specifically in a place where I could share my faith with the students. And so I was very blessed to be asked to come and run that program. So I did that for a long time. And I got to go and meet principals in Catholic schools across the country. And I just had such respect for the leadership and the ways that all the schools took on different passions of the principal or leader. And I just love that idea of being able to give other students what I know, my dad gave me as our principal, with creating fun activities. And most importantly, though, being in a place where we learn and be inspired to read and do, but in a place where we also came together around our faith, that was always the most important thing. And so I think, I was blessed to run a preschool in Center City, a Christian preschool, and doing the drive down across the bridge every day, my husband was it's time to find something closer to home. And when I saw, he actually forwarded me the posting for this job and was okay, it's time, to look for something close to home. And, I just kind of felt like it felt like home to me when I, looked at this job, because, it's kind of like how I grew up. It just feels like family and home and what I'm used to, being in a Catholic school. And lucky for me, I joined Region 2 with principals like Miss Mancuso that I could call upon all the time. And I was expecting to take this job and spend a lot of time with my family. And then COVID hit and I felt like I worked all the time. But I was very blessed just to find community among the principals in the Catholic schools. I appreciated how we work together like a team and family. So it's really, what's kept me here, as well as the children and, teachers here at this school.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned something about, the fact that, when you are a school principal, you are a leader bringing up a vision to your teachers and your students and your families, and you have the capacity to really create and generate change and bring cool things to the school. It's such a great power to have, and there's so much you can do with it. So Trish, how did you become a principal, and what are those things that you're kind of like you're bringing to the school as a principal for so many years in our system that makes you wake up every day and say, I'm happy to be here and be a principal?
I too always wanted to be a teacher. So I started out in the city of Philadelphia, and I was teaching. And after I got married, we moved here. I taught at Most Holy Redeemer in Westville. Later became principal there. That school then became Holy Trinity. I continued to be a principal. So I've been a principal for 24 years, going into year 13 here in the diocese. And I can't imagine being in any other place. The morals and the values and those things that we teach, I know how important they are, and I know how important they are to our families, and you can see it in the kids. Is it perfect? No, we know that. But I just know that we do good things here, and it's not just me. It's our whole group. It's our whole team. You're only as good as the people that you have with you. So I'm blessed to have all of these wonderful folks with me every day, and together, I think that we all do good things for the students that we have.
That's wonderful. Mike, any other questions you have for our guests today?
No, I think that's a wonderful way to end. I think as we're wrapping up, we have a checklist of things to go over. We want to make sure everyone looks at South Jersey Catholic schools, especially our two schools here. So we want to thank you guys for coming on. St. Mary's School in Williamstown, Our Lady of Hope in Blackwood, two great schools as a part of our whole network of schools. So always look at our Facebook, South Jersey Catholic Schools. We've got some job postings. I know we've got some interviews, not just of our families, but potentially new teachers. So always look.
Principals too. Some
principals
going on.
Yeah. So always look for those. I think, we want to thank our guests. We want to make sure you do get some time before the craziness. We're going to see you both live within the next couple of weeks as we prepare for our administration meetings in August. And Marianela, we're going to miss you while you're gone. Maybe we show up in your suitcase.
I don't know if I will.
Right.
I don't know that you'll miss us. We'll miss you, but
for 5 days.
Yeah, I think we will. We hope that everyone has a very safe and fun rest of their summer. We look forward to having Marianela back with tons of knowledge from the FACS conference. And we can't wait I should say, I'm going to say we can wait a little bit longer to see everybody in school.
Yes.
We want you to enjoy a little bit more of your summer. So we will say, although we're excited to see you, everyone soon, we will say you still got a few weeks left. Marianela, any other parting words as we round out the episode?
Thanking our listeners for keeping up with us during the summer. It's kind of like we're always excited to bring great content to you. And please be on the lookout for the next episode on Catholic schools and all the Talking Catholic episodes coming up every week. Thank you, everybody.